The physical therapy appointment was scheduled for 2 in the afternoon. I've been going 3 times a week for 6 months, ever since the car accident that shattered my knee and left me with permanent nerve damage. The therapy was working. Slowly, painfully, but working. Dr. Morrison said that if I stayed consistent, I might avoid surgery. Mom called at noon. You need to be at Aunt Patricia's by 3. It's her retirement party. I have physical therapy at 2. I'll come after, around 4:30. No. You need to be there at 3. Everyone's coming at 3. You can skip one appointment. Mom, I can't skip. Dr. Morrison said consistency is critical. If I miss sessions, I lose progress. Sarah, stop being difficult. It's one appointment. Aunt Patricia is retiring after 35 years. This is important. My knee is important. Your knee will be fine. You've been going for months. One missed day won't matter. But showing up late to family events, that shows respect. I stood in my apartment, phone pressed to my ear, my knee throbbing like it always did before therapy. The exercises hurt, but they helped. Missing even one session meant setbacks. Dr. Morrison had been clear about that. I'll come right after therapy. I promise. Stop being so selfish. This isn't about you. It's about family. About showing up for people who've been there for you your whole life. I'm not being selfish. I'm trying to avoid surgery. Oh, please. You're being dramatic. You're walking fine. I see you walking. You don't need therapy 3 times a week. You just like the attention. The words hit like a slap. The attention. Yes, the attention. Everyone asking how you're doing. Everyone worried about poor Sarah with her injured knee. You milk it. But when family needs you to show up for something that actually matters, suddenly you can't. I felt something twist in my chest. I'm not milking anything. I'm in pain every single day. Then take some ibuprofen and deal with it like everyone else. We all have pain. We don't all make it the center of our universe. Be at Patricia's at 3, or don't bother coming at all. She hung up. I stood there, staring at my phone. Then I looked at the time, 1:15. I could still make my appointment. I should make my appointment. But the guilt sat heavy in my stomach. Family loyalty, showing up, being there for people. These were the values Mom had drilled into me since childhood. And now she was saying if I chose my health over Aunt Patricia's party, I wasn't welcome at all. I called the physical therapy office and canceled. Then I drove to Aunt Patricia's house, my knee screaming with every press of the gas pedal. The party was exactly what I expected. Cousins I barely knew, neighbors making small talk, a sheet cake from the grocery store. Aunt Patricia looked happy, which was good. She worked as an office manager for a commercial real estate company for 35 years and deserved to celebrate. Mom saw me arrive and smiled like she'd won something. See, that wasn't so hard. You look fine. My knee was swelling. I could feel it pressing against my jeans. I found a chair and sat down, trying to keep weight off it. Why are you sitting? Come say hello to everyone. My knee hurts, Mom. You're always complaining. Just stand up and socialize like a normal person. I stayed in that chair for 3 hours. By the time I left, I could barely walk to my car. The next physical therapy session, Dr. Morrison noticed immediately. What happened? You're moving differently. I missed Tuesday's appointment. Had a family thing. She examined my knee, her expression darkening. You've lost about 2 weeks of progress. The muscles have tightened up again. We'll need to work back up to where you were. 2 weeks for missing one appointment? With nerve damage, consistency is everything. Your body regresses quickly. I told you this. She had. I just hadn't believed one session would matter that much. It took a month to regain what I'd lost from missing that single appointment. A month of extra pain, extra work, extra setbacks. And Mom never asked how my knee was doing. She just talked about what a nice party it had been. How good it was that I'd finally put family first for once. That was 7 years ago. 7 years since I realized Mom would always prioritize appearances over my well-being. 7 years since I started building a life where I didn't need her approval. I finished physical therapy eventually. I avoided surgery through grueling, consistent work after that setback. I got a job as a junior analyst at a market research firm, then a better job, then a promotion. 3 years ago, I was recruited to lead the analytics department at Henderson & Associates, a mid-sized consulting firm. Last year, I was promoted to Director of Operations, overseeing 73 employees across 4 departments. At 32, I was the youngest director in the company's history. Mom knew I worked at Henderson. She didn't know what I did there. When she asked, I said operations stuff, and she'd nod. She thought I was middle management, nothing special. She had no idea I was on the executive leadership team. Mom's life had gone differently. She'd worked as an administrative assistant at various companies, never staying long, never advancing. Dad left when I was 25, tired of her constant criticism. He remarried and moved to Arizona. Mom stayed in our hometown, bouncing between jobs, complaining about bosses and coworkers. 3 months ago, she was let go from her latest position, budget cuts. She was 61, and finding work was hard. She called me, panicked. I need a job. My savings won't last more than 4 months. Do you know anyone hiring? What kind of work are you looking for? Administrative. Executive assistant, office manager, something like that. I have 30 years of experience. Someone must need that. I thought about it. Henderson was hiring for an executive assistant to support our chief financial officer. It was a good job. Solid pay, benefits, room for stability if not advancement. Send me your resume. I'll pass it along to HR. You can do that? You have connections to HR. I work here, Mom. Yes, I know people in HR. She sent the resume. I forwarded it with a neutral note. Candidate has extensive administrative experience, might be a good fit for the CFO assistant role. I didn't mention she was my mother. I didn't advocate strongly. I just put her resume in the pile. HR called her in for an interview. She got the job. She started 2 weeks ago. I hadn't seen her yet. Our departments were on different floors, and I've been traveling for a client presentation. But today I was back in the office, and today I had a meeting with the CFO to discuss departmental coordination, which meant I'd finally see Mom. I walked into the executive wing at 9. Mom was at her desk outside the CFO's office, typing something, looking professional in a navy blouse and slacks. She glanced up and did a double take. Sarah, what are you doing up here? Meeting with Richard. We're coordinating on the quarterly reports. You have meetings with Mr. Henderson? She looked confused. Richard Henderson was the CFO and the founder's son. The executive wing wasn't where regular employees had meetings. Yes, we meet every week. Why would you meet with him every week? We work together. I'll see you later, Mom. I walked past her into Richard's office. Through the glass wall, I saw her staring after me, trying to puzzle it out. The meeting lasted an hour. When I came out, Mom was waiting. Sarah, what exactly do you do here? I'm Director of Operations. I run the analytics, client services, project management, and quality assurance departments. Her mouth opened, then closed. You're a director? Yes. Since when? Since last year. I was department head for 2 years before that. You never said anything. You said you did operations stuff. I do. I direct operations. She looked stunned. Then something else crossed her face. Worry, maybe. So you're management. You're my boss? No. You report to Richard. But I'm on the executive team. I'm involved in all major staffing decisions, performance reviews, policy updates. Richard and I coordinate closely. Oh. That single syllable carried a lot of weight. Understanding, realization, fear. Your 90-day review is coming up, I said. End of next week. Richard will conduct it, but I'll be in the room. We do all new hire reviews together to ensure consistency. You'll be in my performance review. Yes. Sarah, Is that a conflict of interest? You being my daughter? HR knows we're related. They approved my participation. The relationship doesn't change the evaluation standards. You'll be judged on the same metrics as any new hire. She swallowed hard. Of course. That makes sense. I walked back to my office, leaving her at her desk. Through my window, I could see the executive wing across the building, could see her sitting there, probably processing what she just learned. That evening she called me. Why didn't you tell me you were so high up in the company? You never asked what my title was. You just assumed. I thought you were in middle management. I thought it was a decent job, but nothing special. It is a decent job. It's also the reason I can afford my condo, my car, and the life I've built. I'm proud of you. You know that, right? I'm proud you've done so well. The words felt hollow. Thank you. About the review next week, will you be fair? I know we've had our differences, but you won't let personal stuff affect my evaluation, right? Mom, the review is based on your work performance, how you've handled your responsibilities, your interactions with colleagues, your reliability. That's it. But you have influence. Richard respects you. What you say matters. Then you should focus on doing good work. Show up on time. Complete your tasks thoroughly. Support Richard effectively. That's what will matter in the review. I'm doing all that. I'm doing great. Everyone says so. Then you have nothing to worry about. But her voice had an edge of panic. Sarah, please. I need this job. I have 4 months of savings. If I lose this, I can't pay my rent. I'll have to move in with your cousin or find some roommate situation. Please don't let our past affect this. Our past. Like it was some minor disagreement. Not 7 years of her dismissing my pain, prioritizing appearances, making me feel guilty for taking care of myself. The review will be professional and objective. That's all I can tell you. She hung up sounding uncertain. The 90-day review was scheduled for Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. Richard and I sat in the conference room with Mom's file in front of us. Her work is solid, Richard said, flipping through the evaluations from his perspective. She's organized, efficient, anticipates needs well. She's been professional with everyone. A few minor issues with taking initiative, but nothing concerning for a new hire. What kind of initiative issues? She waits to be told what to do rather than identifying needs herself. It's fine for now, but if she wants to grow here, she'll need to be more proactive. I nodded. It fit with what I knew of Mom. She was good at following instructions, poor at thinking ahead. Mom arrived at 2 exactly. She looked nervous, sitting across from us with her hands folded on the table. Richard smiled warmly. Thanks for coming, Janet. This is just a standard 90-day check-in. We do them with all new hires. Sarah's here because we coordinate on all departmental reviews. Of course, Mom said, glancing at me and then back at Richard. He walked through the evaluation. Her punctuality was excellent. Her work quality was strong. Her interpersonal skills were good. The initiative issue came up, framed constructively as an area for development. Overall, you're meeting expectations, Richard said. We're pleased with your performance so far. Any questions? No, thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Great. Sarah, anything to add? This was my moment. I could say something cutting, point out her tendency to avoid responsibility, note her history of job hopping, mention concerns about long-term reliability. Or I could do my actual job, be professional, evaluate her fairly based on her work. I looked at Mom. She was 61, trying to rebuild after losing the job she needed. She was doing good work here. She showed up, completed her tasks, supported Richard effectively. She was, for once, actually putting in effort instead of coasting on excuses. I agree with Richard's assessment, I said. The work quality is strong. The initiative piece is something to develop over the next quarter, but it's not a major concern at this stage. Overall, you're performing well. Mom's shoulders dropped with relief. Thank you. One more thing, I said. Richard glanced at me, curious. Reliability and consistency matter tremendously here. We need people who show up, who follow through, who don't let personal convenience override professional commitments. That's non-negotiable. Mom nodded quickly. I understand. Absolutely. Good. Then I think we're done here. Richard wrapped up the meeting. Mom left quickly, probably desperate to escape. After she was gone, Richard looked at me. That last bit about reliability felt pointed. Just reinforcing standards. Right. He smiled slightly. You handled that well. I know it can't be easy reviewing your own mother. She's an employee here. Same standards as everyone else. Still, not everyone could be that objective. After he left, I sat alone in the conference room. Through the window, I could see Mom at her desk, probably still processing the review. 7 years ago, she made me skip physical therapy for a retirement party, made me feel guilty for prioritizing my health, told me I was being difficult, dramatic, attention-seeking, cost me weeks of progress and months of extra pain. Today, I sat in her performance review and evaluated her fairly, gave her credit for good work, highlighted areas for improvement without destroying her. Because unlike her, I could separate personal history from professional responsibility. I could acknowledge what someone did well even when they failed me personally. She'd pass her probation. She'd keep her job. She'd have the stability she needed at 61. Not because I owed her anything, not because I've forgiven what she did, but because she'd earned it through her work performance and because I was better than she'd been. That retirement party 7 years ago taught me something important. Some people will always prioritize appearances over substance, obligation over need, control over compassion, but I didn't have to be one of them. I closed her file and went back to my office. Tomorrow I'd meet with Richard about the quarterly reports. Next week I'd review 3 other department members. Next month I present to the board. And Mom would show up at her desk every morning, type up memos and schedule meetings, and support the CFO, working for the company where her daughter was on the executive leadership team. The daughter she once called dramatic and attention-seeking for trying to save her knee. Life had a way of coming full circle. Sometimes the circle was perfect.